Üks. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome to this closing ceremony of the 2022 University of Tartu Pro Game Jam and Global Game Jam 2022. So, I hope everyone here and everyone on Discord can hear me and is ready to see some game presentations. First of all, let's hear from you by a round of applause, or make some noise if you had fun this weekend. Hey! So, a few people had fun. Good. Let me know by a round of applause if you made a game. Yeah, still a positive answer there. So I asked this before we started, when we all started. So I'm going to ask this again. Raise your hand if you're still confident that you are going to win this game jam. So I think we have this pretty much the same number of hands as before. So good. But you're not here to hear me, to listen to me talk. You're here so that you can talk. So here's how it's going to work. I am going to go through the list of teams one by one, starting from the juniors, and after the juniors, we do the pros. And when I call out your team name, I want one of your team, or maybe a few people from your team, to come down here and talk about your game for 5 to 7 minutes. I will be timing it, and I will be rude and cut you off if you go over time. And just you get to show your game, and you get to talk about your game. So it's good to have at least two people, one playing and one talking about the game. So, without any further ado, let's start with the junior leagues. First team, Team AGC and their game Worse Together. If you are on Discord, if you're not here physically with us, then I expect our tech wizards can patch you through so that we can all hear you here as well and see your game. Team AGC. Okay, we have someone here physically. No. False alarm. I have been informed that Armani is on Team AGC, so if they would like to speak, Armani Haramb.
It seems that their microphone is not working currently, so maybe we can skip them and continue with them later.
So I have just received information that their microphone is probably not working. So maybe we can skip them and move on. Let's see who the second team is. The second team is Team Bad Trip with their game Bad Trip. So, yeah. Good. Applause. Now probably also on Discord. So if you're on Discord, feel free to talk and present. If you're from Team Bad Trip. If not, if no one wants to talk to me again, then we skip again. And And the next team, team Hea Küsimus, good question. And their game Dua Kitty. There's someone here or on Discord from team Hea Küsimus.
Yes, we are here.
Excellent. Let's see and hear your presentation.
Kas me peaksime rääkima inglise keeles või on seal vahet?
I think we prefer English because not everyone can speak Estonian here.
Alright, we're getting the game up and my teammate is going to share it soon. As you can obviously see from the beginning sequence, you are inside the brain of a cat.
So the objective is to basically shoot the other cat till he dies. You can shoot by pressing the buttons that appear on the balloon.
It basically has like more lore than gameplay. The thing is that you're like trying to control the mind of the cat to either make it do good things or make it do bad things. So that is kind of the reason why you are fighting inside the brain. And basically we just wanted to try something new, try programming, try some new mechanics. We thought the keyboard thing would be interesting. As you can see, you need to, press the like buttons that appear on the sun balloon.
There are also these power-ups that you can pick up, the biscuits, and if you lose, you get a defeat screen, and if you win, you get a win screen.
Let's try to get to that win screen, right?
You still have time, so go ahead.
I'll try to show you the win screen.
I'm pretty sure we had background music too, but I'm not hearing it right now.
If you're not hearing the sounds at the moment, then it's I shared my screen wrong. There's background music and there's sound if you get hit, if the enemy gets hit, and if the game ends, there's also sound.
I think we overall had like quite a lot of fun making it. The animations did take quite a while, but I think the things we learned were more important. Also, we weren't, I guess, in it to make a like really huge game, and I'm just happy it's like playable and somewhat understandable and looks all right.
Thank you very much. So I have a question for the presenters. What exactly does it mean that you have to press the buttons on the balloon? How does it affect the gameplay?
So basically you move by using the arrow keys, as it was stated in the start menu or start screen. But in order to shoot, you basically press the buttons that appear on the cat at that exact moment as they appear on the cat, or as they are on the cat. So if there's an X above the cat, you press X.
Okay, that makes sense. Are there any other questions, either here or on Discord? you'd like to ask this team?
I have a question.
Yep.
Hello? Yes. So I was very amazed that you choose Pygame. My first quick question would be, why did you choose Pygame?
It's actually quite simple. Me and the other programmer, we haven't used any game engines like ever, so we didn't really have much of a choice. We either had to learn a new one or use Pygame.
I see. I think it's very good that you used Pygame, and it's. I was very amazed that you got such a good game working with it. My second question is, how did you, or what's the logic behind the enemy movement? How does the enemy, the evil cat, how does it move?
Very difficult AI, of course.
Of course.
Sure, but actually it's just randomized through different metrics. There are different ways it's randomized, and depending on what happens in game, it's randomized differently.
Okay, can you elaborate? So,
Well, there are borders in this game where he can't like pass, and if he goes against any of these borders, he automatically chooses a new way to move. So he moves either the opposite direction or along the walls, or just stops moving. And while he's not touching the borders, he also like has like these. I think there are 8 movement commands that he can choose from. And if he chooses like movement command 1, he moves to the left. If he chooses movement command 2, he moves to the right. There's a movement command for simply standing in place too, and it's all done by with Python randint.
okay. So are there any like patterns in the movement, or does he just move like in one direction until some timeout, or until
He moves in one direction a random amount of steps, which is also like, so it's also randomized.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Sounds like no. So thank you very much, the team behind DuaKitty. Hea küsimus. And we'll move on to our next apparently cat-themed game. Madislaw Inc. and Psycat. They are physically here. So
All right then. Oh man, I can hear myself. I don't like that. But so, as you can see, we made a game about a cat that has psychological powers. Basically, since our theme was duality, we were kind of having to choose between a lot of many opposite things. And the things that we came up with turned out to be very complex to put in our game. So we went the simple way. Movement and stillness. So how we implemented this theme into the game was by... oh man, I'm getting nervous. I don't know how to talk. Thank you.
And we tried to separate the keyboard movement and the mouse movement. And so basically, if I stand still, I can move this crate around to like put it somewhere else. And later, I can move to like better position. If again. And basically, it is. I can only move those crates when I'm standing still. So, yes.
Oh man, why did I pick up the microphone? Okay, so yes, the base mechanics was moving to move around and standing still to manipulate objects around you to get past obstacles. The parts, I don't know what to talk about, man. Oh man, really? Okay. Yeah, I'm having a complete mental breakdown right here. 3 more minutes. Oh, damn it. Well, okay, I guess I can do it. Well, so, well, what can I talk about this game? It's literally just physics smashed into each other. That's what kind of made it fun for us. We had a good laugh making this game because there were quite a bit of hidden unwanted features that we could not fix. That made the game kind of fun. Like he just showed, if you manipulate the box into you, it gives the, how'd say it, the box's rigid body a very high velocity, so it will just launch the box far away from you. What else was there? Bugs? No, I mean unwanted features. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I should have prepared for this. You know better. Oh yeah. Okay, my turn to go. Get out.
Yes. So yes, our idea was like we brainstormed lots of things and decided to do like a tech demo. Like we didn't think about story. We didn't think about like too much about the visuals. Yes. Yes. And it was also like a testing ground for us, like just to learn Unity because yes. It just hit the. Yeah. I'm calling Peter. Nothing special, just random animal. We decided to put it into. One of the points to use. One of our objectives was to use physics as a way to solve puzzles, like we have done in the past 5 minutes. The grave. Can you repeat, please? Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. We do have time for questions and answers, so I am more than willing to return the microphone. Actually, I'd like to ask, how big is the level? How far did you get? Almost at the end. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else have questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
Yep. So that it's a nice secret area. I didn't find this when I played. But so, what was your like thinking when you were designing the puzzles? Like any puzzle. So what was your thought process with that?
I try to make a. It's just like I make a room. I'll make a room, and I'll try to make a puzzle out of it. Like at this secret stage, I hid it. It was that lots of iron grates which you can't move, and you have to get through them, and you have a hole to fill just in case you get stuck or something. but mostly it's like you try to get from one platform to the other. So yes.
To be honest, we really didn't have that much of a plan for the puzzles. We just came up with them on the spot randomly, hoping that it would turn out good, which yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, why was I asking is that I think the physics is nicely implemented, and of course, with physics you always have bugs. That's okay. But like coming up with these puzzles that kind of flow and that the game is playable, that seems like a really difficult thing for me personally. So if I got this right, then you just made like you had like an area. And I guess the goal was to get from one end of the screen to another, and then you made a hole, and then you figured out how many puzzle pieces would one need to get through the obstacle or the hole, right?
It's like that.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. I think that's a really useful skill to develop and have as a game developer. So thank you.
To be honest, in the long term, I visualized it as a game where it's like an open world where you just go out exploring and you have to use the things that are given around you to get to new areas and such. But since game planning really isn't my type of work right now, I just went whatever I could and get like a working demo that I could actually show people out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all for the questions. Thank you very much, the team behind Playcat. Let's see if the next game is cat themed. Let's see. We had Muddy Slow Link just now, and next up is Paari Stoked with The Lost Monk. Paari Stoked, are you there? Calling Paari Stoked.
Hi, we're here. At first, we wanted to make like a dungeon crawler, but because of the time scale, it seemed like a bit too ambitious. So we made a top-down arena shooter. And since the theme was duality, at first we thought about like electricity, negative and positive charges. But we thought that it might get a bit too technical, so we just decided to go with red and blue. And we also implement settings so you can change the volume level of your game. And Red, who made the game, and now we're going to play the game. So here it explains how you can play the game and what the mechanics are. So with a minute look at those. Okay, now we're gonna go on to the gameplay. So you destroy red ghosts with blue orbs and blue ghosts with red orbs. If you shoot the ghost with the wrong orb, it will get bigger. Now shoot a red ghost with a red orb. Now if you kill the bigger ghost, it splits into two. The maximum level size of the ghost is 3. And when a ghost reaches level 3, it can dash through other ghosts and get over to you. So smaller ghosts are slower, but bigger ghosts they can dash further and reach you more better.
So yeah, we also implemented some lighting, and as you can see, the ghosts have shadows, and there's also different lights. We also implemented some particles, so when you throw an orb, it has some particles, as well as when you kill it, depending on the color of the ghost, there's either pink or blue colors. We also put some animations on the boss, and also our main character. He either shoots with his left arm or right arm, depending on like what button you press. That's about it. We also, there's a health system. So when you die, then you have the game over screen, and you can either play again or press main menu to go to the main menu. Yeah. So I think that about sums up our game, or do we need to go on longer?
No, thank you. I think everybody got the basic idea. It seems like a very original concept. So how did you come up with the game design for this game?
As I said in the beginning, at first we wanted to make a dungeon crawler, but because of the time scale, it seemed too ambitious to complete in time. So we wanted to go with the style, so we made a top-down arena shooter because we thought it was cool and it fit the time scale as well. At first we thought of the idea like opposite colors kill a ghost, but then we thought what will happen if you shoot one with the wrong orb, and then we came up with this idea like they split or get bigger, and then when you kill them they split, so it becomes harder if you mess up. Yeah, there's also a spawning system. When you get past like level 30, it gets more and more difficult exponentially. Yeah, so at the beginning it's easy, and then later on it becomes a lot harder.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from here or on Discord? If not, then
I have a question.
Yeah, there's a question.
Yes. So this game seems to be made with the Godot engine. So what made you choose that particular engine?
Well, actually, only one of us has actually used the game engine to make games before, and that was me. So I was familiar with the Godot engine, and I teached it to the others, so that's why we chose it.
Okay, so maybe a follow-up. So if only one of you was familiar with it and you taught it to others, how was using that engine? Like, was it easy to learn for others, or did you have many problems learning it?
At first, it was a bit difficult to get a grasp of it, but when you explained to us how the nodes, areas, collision shapes all work, then we were able to put it together on the, let's say, about first 6 hours and really start building on our own. So yeah, we got the hang of it quite fast.
Okay. You would recommend this to, let's say, some other teams who have never used some game engines before and maybe want to learn during a jam. So that would be a good engine to learn.
Yes, I think it's really user-friendly, and it has a lot of built-in commands that you can use.
Okay, and that second question too. So this game, I guess it doesn't have like a victory condition, right?
No, it's just survive as long as you can. Compete your high scores with your friends.
Okay, high score based. If you would need to design like some kind of win condition or something like that, so it wouldn't just be that survive as long as you can and then you die. Like if it would be something more, how would you approach this problem with this kind of a game mechanic?
I think that as you move through levels, the ghosts would get more powerful and more difficult to kill, and in the end there will be like a big boss, and if you defeat him, then congrats, you won the game.
Yes, that would seem like a nice idea. Yes, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have
Okay,
a question also.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the character rotation. What is the logic behind how it rotates when you move?
The character just is towards the mouse.
So we get the position of the mouse and point right that way.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for presenting Team Paaristoket. We move on to the final team of the Junior League, and that is UGO, Unidentified Game Object. Is Hugo here, UGO?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Yeah. So Seam will be presenting the game for us, our team. And let me see if I can see what's I really wanted to be there as well, but you know how it is with nowadays. So things came up with the virus, but yeah, we have two people on site and 2 people online creating the team, and I work mainly on the sounds. Seam worked on the programming in Unreal Engine, and Yogini and Kevin worked on the 3D modeling. And we had this idea actually brought by Yogini, since it's the topic of duality. Actually, Yogini's brother, Yesu, came up with the idea, initial idea, but the duality here in this game is that there is a time when you chase the demon doll, and there is a time when the demon doll chases you. So there is a time pressure on to catch the doll, and when the time is up, it will become a monster that will be chasing you. So it's you can play it, both parts of the horror scenario basically. So yeah, as you can see here, it's so a bit of about the lore. There was a ritual taking place in this basement where the protagonist wanted to revive their pet turtle who had passed on, but the ritual went wrong, and an old doll fell into the circle, and this doll and turtle mutated into a monster. So now you have to catch it before it catches you. And yeah, it's we haven't added all the assets here. Some Yogini also shared in the chat, but yeah, we managed to make this small world where you are in this terrible situation, and kind of add some creepy stuff there. I don't know what to say. Maybe Seam can tell more about the logic of the code or something about that side. Or not? Well, for my part, it was really interesting to create the sounds for this, since it's a horror theme. So it was fun, really fun to take part in this project, and yeah, hope we can kind of finish it as well, this game.
Marianna, I just wanted to show the ending, so I didn't want to.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
maybe also elaborate the backstory of this game. So
Uh,
why this thing will happen?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a ritual with the turtle.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask, is this for most of your team? Am I correct that this was your first game jam?
For me, it was second, but I think Siim is more has jammed more. But depending on who was here.
Yeah, and for Kevin, it was also second, I think. But yeah, I have participated something like on 5 or 6.
Oh, okay. Well, it's certainly impressive. Any other questions?
I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
Yes. So you talked about this very cool elaborate story about the pet turtle. First of all, I really like the duality aspect here because this was like something that really grasped me. So yes, you're like first you're trying to catch it, and then the monster is trying to catch you. So that's really clicked with the duality aspect for me. But this background story, so I didn't really understand this background story from the game. I guess maybe you didn't have enough time to put the background story in the game somehow. So how would you approach this problem? So if someone runs the game, how would you convey this whole story of the ritual and the pet turtle to the player in the game or via the game?
So first idea we had. Thanks for the question. First idea we had was that to design the environment and add the objects. So you start within the ritual area. So you already see that there is some kind of ritual going on. And but we ran out of time with importing all of the 3D assets. So that was just a time pressure thing. But another thing which we might add is maybe some kind of slower start to the game so that you aren't on the timer right away, but maybe there's a screen that explains, or we would need to first test with the ritual items and see if people start understanding from that, or we need to add more information there. But yeah, there's 2 ideas.
Okay. You said that you had trouble importing the assets. So you had made the ritual site assets, but you didn't get them into the engine, or?
Yes, we had to then when there was a very short time already for the deadline, then we had to decide to revert back to the previous environment what we had just to uh, just uh, uh, just to make something so playable. But yeah, we have this where the player starts. There is the ritual site and the objects, and we maybe also the text, but we thought that as less text is better, and we tried to do it through the like assets and maybe some animations or something that describes the rituals.
Yeah, I understand this. This was one of the things that kind of confused me a bit. That it was for a horror game. It seemed like a really well lit maze dungeon thing, and then I was wondering why am I chasing a turtle in a maze? So but I understand that you had problems getting the models into the engine and creating the environment there. Okay, one more question about the models. So on the screen, I'm seeing that there's a face on the doll, but the model in game didn't seem to have a face. So is it a different model, or what's the thing with this?
It was at the back side of the doll.
Oh,
Yeah.
The same doll, but
One time I played it and I was killed with the back towards me, but then in the end they turned around and he still has the face, but I think it's like the movement that it's like with its back.
okay, so it's not turning towards the direction it moves. Okay, I see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes the Junior League portion of today's presentations. So once again, thank you all Junior League teams. We didn't hear everyone's every team's presentation yet, but I think we will return to the two teams that we didn't hear after we've gone through all the pro teams. So let's continue to the Pro League. These are the real professionals, really good at game design, game development, and the first team is actually apparently just a single person. It's team Käibemaks, aka Kristo Männa, and game Aeroplanner. So if Kristo, if you're there, go ahead.
Hello. So I'm Kristo Männa. I'll be talking about my game. I don't actually have that much to say, so give me one moment, I will set it up. I don't have that much to say. If you have any questions, then have them prepared. Okay, can you see the game?
Yeah.
Okay, do you also have audio? Or not? Okay, I will try it one more time. Okay, I don't know how to put audio in, so we're gonna do it without the audio. So this is Aeroplanner. You open it up. It asks you for your username. I'll just write test here. Now we're in the main menu. Credits. Let's play it. I've played it before. Actually, I'll reset my progress. So I'll just go through the game. Click play. You're greeted by this little paper here, and you have this painting. Then you'll find out that you can draw here. It says plan your best plane. So the hope is that the player will make a plane. And once they're happy with their plane, they click the execute button, and then this portion should be like unexpected. The plane became a paper plane, and now you can throw it. Let's see if the leaderboard still works. Okay, very good, it works. So just go to my plane. Now I have access to the leaderboard. Here you can see everybody who has thrown their planes and what kind of cool designs they have made. There were like a couple of here that I really liked. Let's see, where is it? Like this one. Like really good. Then you can also click this race button here. I'll select a couple of these. Go back to the main menu. We also have a shop. You can buy upgrades. I'll get the faster fall animation one. And then we can play it again. You can select tools. And now, because I selected the some planes for the racing, you can also see them here. So it's kind of like multiplayer. Yeah, and that's the game. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. I appreciate the little bit of dark humor there when you design a plane and then you press the button labeled execute. Because it looks like those designs might not fly very well. So I have a question. Is there any connection between the shape that the paper gets folded into and the image you draw on the paper?
Yes. I mean, like whatever you draw here, it will go on the plane. Like if I make, let's see, where is it? It's fold it here, and then you fold it something like here. So if I color this piece blue and this piece as well blue, then the plane's wings should be blue now.
Question. One question. Go ahead.
So is there a connection between the amount of ink you put on the plane and how well it flies, or where you draw?
There are two systems here. One is the ink system and the other is the distance system. So when I draw this plane, we'll see once it lands, it will show you the stats. So you see how you have a distance, 24 meters, and ink. And these two get combined into one score. So they're basically totally separate. If you put more ink on your plane, you will get more points. And if you get your plane farther, you get more points. So if you want to get like 68 points, which might be the maximum, you have to get the maximum amount of ink and maximum amount of distance.
Okay, but the drawing or the ink itself doesn't affect how well it flies at all?
Yeah, no.
Okay, thank you.
So someone here at Delta had a question as well.
Yes. Basically, my question is, what is the best angle to throw the plane at? Like, I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, probably something like, let's see. Yeah, like I don't actually know, but I
good designer,
guess
good designer.
It's something like over here. But
so it's not 45 degrees.
It might be.
Like I was pretty convinced that it's gonna be 45 degrees, and I tried it, and then I didn't even get on the grass. So I'm just curious.
The like one thing is the angle. The other really important thing is the strength bar. When you get this one upgrade from the shop, let's see, where is it? The extra strength, this one. Then your strength bar will. Let's see if I can show it. It will like go over the limit. Now it doesn't actually go over the limit, but it gives you like more time to get the maximum amount of strength. So I think this might actually be the key to get your plane the farthest.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kaivamox. And we'll move on to the next team, the second team in the Pro League. And this is Notepad Games with Mousecutor. Notepad Games.
Yep, we're online. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Very good. 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen. This should probably do it. Okay, I think you can see it. So our plan started like it usually does when we get a team announced. We were getting together online and talking things through and making a brainstorm. But after like 4 hours of nothing really great, we just like mixed up all the best ideas that we had, and this is how we actually came out with the idea of mouse executor. What's kind of supposed to be like semi-tower defense, first-person action execution, like killer simulator. The story behind the game is that you are a cat and the owner goes to the shopping or like leaves the house, and suddenly you notice that there are like rodents crawling into your home, and you have to now protect your home. I'm truly sorry. As I was the primary programmer, I did not manage to implement the first very basic information onto the screen that says you have to press P yourself to start the waves for each wave. But the gameplay looks kinda like childish, low poly, and there are different things that you can do. You can scratch the sand in your litter box, and you can drink milk to gain extra speed and jump. For example, if I jump now, I only pretty much land halfway where I could actually jump. And drinking milk also gives me more speed and attack speed as well. And down on the bottom over here, you can actually see the refill bar that notifies you when you can drink milk again. For example, for now I don't get any boosts or anything, but once the bar fills I can drink the milk again and get the effects again. And also there is like a feeder box that is one of the so the milk and the feeder box are two things that are like the main targets for the mice to nibble on. So you have to protect your own food. And if you get low on hearts, you can either eat here or scratch the cushions of the sofas to get back some health. So if you press P, it starts the level. There are different spawn points with different kinds of mice. These were the most basic ones that would just head straight to your feeding pot. But when I start level 2, there is also a faster mouse who will run straight to your milk tray. And each round there are more and more enemies spawning in, and there is also a scoreboard. So why I didn't do the automatic leveling was so I really liked the idea of you being a cat and like messing things up and throwing and destroying everything that you see. So I just wanted the freedom of you playing around, not need to worry about enemies destroying your house. But the game itself pretty much goes on until wave level 5, where is like the first boss fight. And you can immediately tell the boss is different and is heading straight towards you. And the boss is Fangs, not through any like definitely not glitches or anything, are poisonous. So once he touches you, even if you get out of his radius, he still like gives damage to you. But once you defeat the level 5 boss, there is the victory screen where you can either quit the game, what you should definitely never do, and I don't know why I put the button here, but you can choose to go to the menu and do the levels again, or you can try the nightmare mode, which is pretty much the endless mode. You go on until the until you die. So immediately you start from wave 6 as you were left off from the stage 5. And the bosses are spawned in from every 5 levels. So if I try to fast run this to level 10, we should see some kind of more bosses. And as you can see, the mouses are like traveling in packs, so you can just smack them down as you please. And if someone has questions, they can ask.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, we have a question right here. Let me see if I can get the microphone to you.
I changed the mouse sensitivity, but the mouse behavior didn't change. I mean, the mice. What did I do wrong?
Probably nothing. If I change the mouse sensitivity, it works for me. So probably just another glitch that are very common in games that I participate. But probably there is nothing that you did wrong.
So another question: do the small mice actually hurt you in any way?
The small mice only hurt your fooding trays. So once they okay, just another great problem. I'm gonna restart the game. But the small mice don't actually attack you. They only head for the food, and they attack the food trays. So just a second, gonna go live again.
Okay.
So pretty much, yeah, they don't like affect you anyway. But once they get to the food trays, they will start nibbling down your food. And when your food, as per like shown with the health bar, gets down, you also lose.
Okay. Any other questions before we move on?
So did I get this correctly that your food and you have the same health bar?
Yes, as we all actually know, cats have nine lives, and they are very like they do what they want, and if they don't get the food, then why should they live? So yeah, they pretty much live as long as they get the food, and when they don't, they leave, or in our case, they pretty much give up on life.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and let's quickly move on to the next game in the Pro League, and our next game is next team is Press Space to Jump, and the game is called All You Can Eat. Press Space to Jump. Okay, they are here. So I am going to hand over the microphone to one of you.
Hello. So this is like a food fighting game. But so it's like an arena game where you can move around, throw stuff. But maybe you can turn down the volume a little bit.
Can you share the screen to Discord as well?
Can you see the game?
Yeah, we can now. Thank you.
Okay, so this is in the game now. So you have to change. This feature will come. It's not there yet. Yeah, this is even better music. This music was made by ourselves, by the way. But it would be nice if you could turn down the music a bit more. Hello. Okay. So yeah, it's a food fight game, but it's in an arena where you fight against bots. You have to throw food at each other. There is HP, but no HP bars implemented yet. So it's not real time. Instead, you have to plan your moves ahead. So this includes moving around, picking stuff up, picking items up, which happens automatically if you move near them. And then you can choose to attack with them. So you have the inventory, where you can press on an item and then choose a direction where you want to throw it at. And currently there are 2 different types of projectiles. So forks and knives are thrown in like a straight arc. They do a lot of damage. So one of the AI was knocked out. And then there's, including the tomato. And then there's the watermelon, chicken, and cake, which do an area of effect damage, which we can now demonstrate. Yeah, so there's an action phase and the planning phase. Oh, he stumbled upon the watermelon, I guess. So in a planning phase, you prepare your moves, and in action phase, you can't do anything. You just watch it all play out, and you try to predict where your enemy might move. You won. Regarding development, it was what's the word? Quite tense. We didn't end up with everything. We do have all of the sound effects, all of the music, but they're not all implemented in the game. Actually, there are 0 sound effects implemented in the game, and we have these 2 music tracks. There is one more. There is one more attack type that we wanted to implement, where you throw stuff like a catapult, but did not have enough time for that. And that's currently the game. Initially, we had some kind of a simple story idea, but we scratched that. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Yes, it does have AI. The AI is simple. Firstly, it checks if it has something in the inventory. If it does, it will choose a random target. If the random target is close enough, it will attack immediately. Otherwise, they will try to move towards it and throw it. If they don't have items, they move to items, and then in the next planning phase, it repeats. They try to attack.
So I have a question. Is it time for questions?
We think we had a question in the audience, so it was if there are any. What? Can you repeat it?
Is there any obvious benefit, like strategic benefit, to being in any specific spot on the map, such as the tables providing cover?
They do provide cover, especially from the area of effect attacks. If you you don't want to attack aiming at the table actually, because since you place the watermelon onto the floor and you kick it, it will start flying from the floor and it will immediately hit the table. So that wouldn't be a good move. And initially you could kill yourself with watermelons, but we disabled that. Oh yeah. Any more questions? I think there was one on Discord.
Yes, so I have a question. You said that the music is done by you yourself?
Not me, but
yeah,
by
your
my
team.
teammate, yes.
Yes, by you in plural, right?
Yes.
Yes. So what about 3D models and animations? Did you also make all of that yourself?
Yes, they were also made by ourselves.
Okay.
The painting on the wall was not made by us.
Yeah, that was my second question, but yes, okay, I got the answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there are no more questions, then thank you. and let's move on to the next game in the Pro League. The next team is called Publish and Polish, and they have an ominous sounding game called the Coiner Phalum Experiment. So, and they're right here to present. So, the floor and the microphone is yours.
So, in the spirit of the name of the game, we're going to start off with a little experiment. And that's just over 10 seconds. So that's our game. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Woo. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, what can I say? For those of you who've done a lot of these jams, we're probably regular faces around here. If you know me, then you know that I usually rag on about using game jams to find ideas that you feel are worth working on in the future, and using them to prototype, stuff that you think might be cool. But the downside is that, these sorts of game jams, if you come into them to win them, that's not necessarily where you're going to have the most success. So for this game jam, we went into it specifically thinking we're just going to make like the most simplest, down-to-earth Crystal Manna game that we possibly can. And lo and behold, the theme gets announced, and we're just, dead out of ideas. Not out of ideas, we just had a lot of bad ideas. And so, I mean, I fell back onto what I know best, which is sort of analog PSX horror, creative writing, so narrative, all those buzzwords kind of games. And that's how we ended up on this. The idea itself, the reason why we went for it right away is I think it's really cool. It's basically you play through this text adventure game in this terminal. Hopefully, at first you think that that's the whole game, and then as it turns out, that's just you sort of going through the sequence that you're not going to go through, quote unquote, in real life. Because this is a sort of inspired by stuff like the Backrooms and the Mandela Catalog, this sort of abstract horror thing where your future gets planned ahead of you, and then you have to go actually through it, and you have to see what all the stuff that was written down there actually means. And yeah, that's how we happened on this idea. So, I mean, like I said, we went through a lot of bad ideas first, so we started working on it kind of late. As usually happens with these game jams, even if you have something that you really love, then you're going to cut about 70% of it. I went into it prepared to do that, and still went out a bit disappointed that the game essentially is sort of choosing which corridors you can walk down. I mean, the hook of this idea was really that if you go through this text adventure, then you get a bunch of like really cool prompts about, solving a puzzle that's like really ambiguously explained, but then you have to actually go through it once you get to it in the real world. Stuff like dialogue with characters, or stuff like some sort of horror jump scare kind of interactions with entities that only get explained in text, and then you actually have to dread them as you go towards them. Obviously all that stuff had to get cut, and the game is just walking down corridors, but well, that's game jams. that's what happens. In the end, I think I'm still really happy with the idea. As always, I can at least say that I think it's cool, and I would love to keep working on it. So yeah, that's I guess that's about it. I mean, if anyone has any questions, go ahead.
I have a question. So, how did you? First, I would like to say it's really cool. I really enjoyed it, and you were right that when you're initially playing the text-based game, then you have no idea what's going to happen. But I wanted to ask you about like the technical aspects of the visuals. So, how did you create this unique look that we see, the visual effects here?
So that was also sort of why we went through a lot of trouble before properly getting into working on the game. I like to focus on visuals a lot. That's what I've done with my previous games, and with this one, I had a lot of reference material to go off of, the PSX horror and the analog horror genres. But achieving that in the project we set up, which was the universal render pipeline of Unity, was pretty much impossible because universal render pipeline doesn't support that much screen space effects. So we had to switch the whole project over to built-in render pipeline, and then I could, go into the Unity asset store and pretty much get all the effects I wanted, layer them on top of each other, and then get this effect. As for how it actually works, I tried to fix some of the stuff, or at least look into how it works in the fragment shaders, or just in the screen space stuff, but it was really badly formatted, so I just went with what the effects were in the asset and used them as is, just tweaking the few parameters we had, and the rest is just sort of stylistic sensibilities and stuff like that, knowing sort of what you want to go for. And in this case, I knew I wanted to go for PSX, so there was a funny trick I used, which was actually pretty much most of the textures in the game, which are on the stuff on the walls and everywhere, they're from they're from a Minecraft texture pack, which is 64 by 64, and it's a Minecraft texture pack of the Half-Life 2 materials. It's really weird, but yeah, I just knew what I wanted to go for, and then I just had to fill in the blanks pretty much.
Oh, I see. So the effects are from the asset store, but you tweak them to create this unique look. Okay, and the texture backstory is also very, very cool. Are the models also from the asset store, or did you 3D model anything here yourself?
Well, I modeled the level, so well, that's the walls and stuff. Everything that's in the level is from assets we found on itch.io.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
It's good. It looks, feels like a cohesive game. So that's a good job on mixing all of these things together to create this solid, cohesive feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there's one more question here. How many endings are there?
I think with the joke ending where you just quit right away, it's 4. Yeah, it should be 4.
Thank you. If there's no more questions, then thank you very much for that very scary game. And I think this takes us to our final contestant in the Pro League. Yes, it's random number generators and their game Dices and Dragons. Random number generators, I think they are here. And they are making their way to the stage. Their game is already started. You will be seeing it in a moment. And
thank you. First of all, I'd like to say the UI on this screen is a little bit broken. I'm really sorry for that. I did not know how to know that we will have this problem. But basically, the Dices and Dragons is a game about a dragon fight club where you are a person that bets on them, and then you can try and plan those dragon fights. Basically, what we wanted to do was to create a system that emulates combat systems from Pokemon or those JRPGs where you choose your attacks, you do those kind of things. But we wanted to add a little bit of a planning phase to it, as the theme is. So we added dice. It was kind of my goal as well. I really wanted to use dice in a game. It felt cool. And so we made this system where you first of all roll some dice, as you saw previously. You roll some dice, you can place them in cards that represent attacks. Different cards have different stats, so there are some combinations. For example, you can see in the top end of bottom end of the screen, you can see some conditions. So, for example, on the bottom left, you can see a defense card that only works if the dice sum is more than 10. But it also gives you a +2 to your defense score from that card. So we tried to play around with that idea with creating different attacks and the whole planning thing. So there are risks you can take. There are like tries you can take, because we also have a re-roll phase. So once you place your dice, you can re-roll all the dice you haven't placed just yet, and you can try and maybe get a 6, maybe you'll get a 1, you'll never know. But to also emphasize the execute phase of the game, we did the whole animation thing that you have been seeing here for like a few times now. We're gonna see it in a second again, once Raiko is done with the planning phase. As you can see, he's rolling the dice again, and there are some really good combinations. I'd also like to talk about the UI. First of all, on the top there, you can see what the enemy is doing, so you can better plan for your turn. Now, once the execute phase starts, we see 2 dragons, and the cards are being executed in a sequence. And well, first of all, temporary hit points is added by defense. Then attack damage is dealt from the attack card, and then you will heal yourself. Basically, I feel that me and my team, we're all really happy with the game. It felt really nice to play. It was juicy. We tried to add as much polish as possible, and I feel like we succeeded with that. Everything from the sound effects, from the die rolls, from the cards moving around, the animations, even the menu animations. I really feel like those things add a lot of juice in here. Can you show the menu for a second, please? So we can see how the dice leave the screen, the menu pops on, and when you press play again, the dice come on, the cards come back on, and everything like that. It just feels great. Talking about like outside the jam, because it was a jam game. We tried to prototype it basically, but I believe I'm not the only one in my team who thinks that this game actually has potential to be a bigger thing. Add more cards, add deck building, add more combinations, different enemies. Like, there's a lot I feel we could do here to make it into a bigger game. And maybe one day, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how others feel about that. But yeah, that's our game. Does anybody have questions?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm glad to hear that you already thought about like building more stuff here and making it into a bigger game. So that's my first question. So what would be like these things you could scale up here, or what would be the like first thing you would try to make this into a bigger game?
I think the biggest thing we need to add to extend the playtime is different cards, different combinations. As you can see, there are only a few combinations here. First of all, we have like classical just cards that add up the die values, I mean. Then there are cards that add a bonus to those die values, and then there are condition cards that only work if the die values are above a certain number. There's a lot of different things we could add there. For example, Yahtzee, that was kind of our, I would say, inspiration. In Yahtzee, you have a lot of different combinations to get different amount of points. We could start adding those combinations. We could add more cards that have, I don't know, 3 slots for dice. We could add more enemies. There's a lot we can do, but I think the cards are the biggest thing.
Okay, so you mentioned like having more slots for the dice. So so that would be the avenue, not like having 2 slots, but doing different things with the sum.
Yeah, doing different things and like adding more possibilities to take risks. For example, a card that only works if you put three dice in it, 3 dice into it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot we could do, and I think that's one of them and the biggest thing.
Okay. And my second question is, so this enemy, does the enemy have the same cards and same options available, or is it just like doing something completely different?
For cards, it has similar cards. It has some tweaked numbers for those cards to make sure that the game is actually fun to play. Because, for example, if the enemy always heals for a ton, then it's not fun, because your damage is not going to mean anything. And at the same time, if the enemy doesn't do any damage, then you can just like keep on spamming damage, and it's gonna end boringly. The enemy also has 6 dice instead of 5, as you can see on the player. So it has a bigger chance to win, because right now the player has all the advantages. First of all, the player sees the enemy's action, and the player also is smarter than the AI. the enemy does have an AI that like takes risks and everything as well, but it's not that fleshed out because, well, it is a game jam and time is really scarce here.
Okay, very interesting. So how much time of your development time went into the AI, proportionally?
Fortunately, I wouldn't say it took a while because it's basically like a long if tree. I know it's not pretty in code, but dirty code is better in a game jam than no code. So I think we succeeded with that. It took 2 hours and it works as we intended. So I'm really happy with it so far.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, then thank you for presenting, and you may return to your seat. And this takes us full circle, as there were. Oh, okay. Well, this is fun. But this takes us full circle back to the beginning, where we skipped over two junior league teams. So let's see if they have become available. So junior league team 1, AGC, are you there? Team AGC? I'm not hearing anyone, so let's skip over them again and go to Team Bad Trip. Team Bad Trip, are you there?
Hello,
Anyone?
yes, we are here.
Wonderful. Are you ready to present?
Yeah, we will. Our stream should be starting. And yeah, so for us it was, for most of us, it was our first game jam. For one girl, it was the second one. And we had just one programmer, 3 art people, and the programmer also wasn't too familiar with Unity, so we have to say that it was quite a bad trip for us, as our name says. But our game was in concept thought as a split screen game, but it ended up being one screen because we didn't have time. And the idea behind it was that you're having a bad trip inside of an underground tunnel, and you see things double, which we sadly can't see currently on the screen. And you're being attacked by rats and spiders, and so you have to jump over them or crawl under them. And then if you get far enough, then there will be fume puffs coming, and those will make your keys with which you would go either up or down to switch. So you have to have your coordination going the other way around. And actually, the other big idea that we couldn't sadly implement was that you have to play with 2 hands. So your right hand plays arrow keys up and down, and your left hand plays W and S. And so these would both of them would switch if you get hit by the gas, and that would make the game a bit harder. But in general, it's like this endless runner type of game. And yeah, sadly, we don't have any sound currently either, because we didn't have time for that. But what we have to say that was really cool about our game is that all the modeling is done by us, and also the sounds were all recorded and designed by us, and we also made our own font for the game. And yeah, so yeah, we would like to apologize that it's a kind of halfway game, but it was about a bad trip, but we also had kind of fun making it. We all liked the idea, so that was good. But yeah, sadly we couldn't execute it to perfection. We also realized when we were testing the game later on, after we had submitted it, I was testing it on my laptop screen as well. And as the game is made in full HD and I have a bigger resolution screen than the game, I think you can also see it currently being played that the screen gets a little bit bigger, it's stretched a little bit. So that was a little bug as well. But yeah, that's kind of it. It was our first time, and we are glad we could deliver something.
Okay, thank you. Any questions to Team Bad Trip?
I have a question. So you said that you had a lot of artists in the team. So what was your design process in terms of visuals? So I understand that there are rats and spiders and a cave, and the girl is like running through the cave. So what was the thinking in how to relay the dangers visually to the player so that they would know that a rat is something to avoid and the spider is something to avoid, and how do these things would visually pop from the environment?
The main thing were the red eyes, but in general, as we're all like, none of us are too familiar with game design or anything. Like we're all first year 3D design students, so we don't have any experience. So we were pretty much just like, oh, that sounds like a cool idea. We will just see how far we get with it, and we didn't go like too deep into thinking like, oh, how can we make it like the coolest or the best in that sense. We just tried to get it done somehow, and the main thing was that we wanted to model everything ourselves and do it ourselves as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, and I totally think that this was a very useful experience. Just that when you model things yourself, you had complete creative control, right? So you could like design these things any way you want. And right now, like the spiders are very obvious. The red eyes, that's great design. Like red, the color of danger. People see this, they know that this is something to avoid. However, when I played your game, like the rats seem to be blending into the environment a lot, and I didn't see that. Oh, there's a rat on the way, and I didn't know to avoid it.
This is a feedback that we were also like giving between ourselves, like as when the game was already like released to everybody. But to be fair, like it must be a lighting problem, I think, because seeing the rat design in general, it's like really grey rat, but I think that the lighting issues make it blend into the environment so much, and probably also the camera angle is a little bit bad at the end of the day. But,
yeah. That could be that as well. Okay. The font, you designed the font for this. Why?
It was just like an interesting idea, and it came out. So yeah, because I'm also like, I'm not that good in 3D design yet, so I had a little bit more time with things. So the first night I made a font.
Okay.
It's working.
Yeah, I mean, font is cool. That's okay. Nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you also all the other teams who presented and made games and are here and on Discord listening to us right now. This concludes the presentation portion of tonight's final ceremonies, and right now we are going live to Daniel to tell us about the prizes the teams are competing for, and well, who won? Daniel, are you there?